Hello, I'm Ted Nyquist with the Midwest chapter of the American Rhododendron Society. Today I'm going to discuss planting your rhododendrons and azaleas in the upper Midwest. I'm assuming that you have viewed the previous videos covering site selection and soil preparation, but I may repeat a few of the points previously discussed in this lesson. Make sure you have selected a site with dappled shade, adequate protection from the harsh summer sun and winter winds, and excellent drainage. Perhaps you created a berm or raised bed if your soil analysis indicated that you should do so. The rhododendron that you purchased will likely be in a container like this one, unless it's a larger one and it may be balled and burlapped. Dig a hole several times larger than root ball like I have here. This is about 3 feet across and perhaps a foot deep. Then I want to amend the soil or fill it so that I have a soil mixture in here. I'm going to do that with a combination of pine fines and black forest soil conditioner. So now I'll have a plant that'll be just above the soil, maybe 2 to 3 inches. Tamp down the hole so it's nice and firm so the plant won't sink after we plant it. Before you plant your rhododendron, make sure the root ball is moist. I've felt this and I know it is moist. If you're working with a balled and burlap rhododendron, make sure that that is also moist. If they're not, you may need to water them first and then wait a while for the water to soak into the plant before you go ahead and plant it. And also leave the burlap on your rhododendron if it is balled and burlapped. Otherwise, the soil mixture, particularly if it's planted in sand, will pull away from the roots, which is not good. If it is container grown, take it out of the container and loosen the root ball, as I'll show you in a second. I'm using this serrated knife to cut the bottom of the root ball aggressively. Cut in there nicely. Cut the sides. I'll show you in a second. Don't be afraid to pull it out. And I'm going to loosen up the plant, the roots, because I want those nice fine roots to grow into the amended soil I'm going to put in here. Now the plant will be 2 to 3 inches above the soil level. And I'm going to backfill this with a mixture of pine fines and black forest soil conditioner. If I had have previously amended the soil and the pH is right, I don't need to do that now. But in many cases, such as this one where the berm has been here for a while, I'm going to use some ironite, just a handful, and a handful of agricultural sulfur pellets to lower the pH over time. I'm going to mix that together well. Take more amendment out of the bag, mix that up, and then backfill my hole around the plant, tamping it down periodically. Till I've filled just around near the top, but not quite up to the top, around the root ball. Then I want to create a lip around that plant, and that will help keep the water from draining away when it rains or when you water the plant at a later time. Then you want to make sure that you water the plant well. And afterwards, mulch this with a layer of 2 to 4 inches of pine fine mulch around this. That'll keep the roots cool in the hot summer, warm in the winter, and it'll help keep the moisture in. I wanted to summarize a few points made earlier in this lesson. Rhododendron roots are fine and feathery and grow shallow and horizontally. You need to dig a hole about 1 foot deep and backfill with a 50-50 mixture of pine fines and soil conditioner. And so ultimately, after you backfill, you'll have a hole about 8 inches deep. It's important that you tamp down the bottom of the hole so the plant won't sink once it's planted. If the rhododendrons are balled and burlapped, leave the burlap on the plants. If not, and they're container grown, loosen the sides and the bottom of the roots well after you take it out of the container, so the roots can then grow into the neighboring soil mixture. Place the plant in the hole and backfill with a mixture of pine fines and soil conditioner in approximately a 50-50 ratio. Make sure the top of the root ball of the plant is 1 to 2 inches above the neighboring soil level. Add sulfur and ironite to the backfill mixture as necessary to adjust the pH. Don't add fertilizer in the first year. I suggest not, because it may damage the delicate plant in its first year in its new location. Do water well and then mulch around the plant to a depth of 3 to 4 inches, keeping the mulch away from the root stems of the plant itself. I use pine fines to accomplish the mulching, but you can use other items if necessary.